Alright, what's up YouTube? This is Hassan with the Struggling Day Trader channel, and I'm here to go over my trades for the day. Well, for the first time in a week, it is not a red day. It's not a red day. It's the smallest green day ever, but no money was lost overall. Overall, not a red day. So that's good. Man, the rules are like, I don't know what it's going to take for me to be convinced to stop finding these little reasons to step outside of the rules. Like, that's literally what I'm waiting on right now. I did break the VWAP rule once yesterday, but that was the first time in a long time. So I really need to just, I don't know, I guess kind of keep stacking these rules where I'm like super committed about them. Because I'm very committed about not buying below VWAP. I believe in that wholeheartedly. The next one I would say would need to be not buying in the first 10 minutes of the open. Just don't do it. Like maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 trades that I take in the first 10 minutes work out. I feel like I had a good trade yesterday. That was in the first few minutes of the open. But actually, I kind of want to check that out. Let me see here if I could find that. Was that snow? Okay, yeah, that was snow. Yeah, so yesterday I took snow on the 6th minute. And it was a great trade. It was a great trade. That kind of sucks, but today I took 1, 2, 4. This was after the 4th minute closed. So this was after the 5 on snow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after 5 minutes, after the 5-minute candle closed, I put an order in. And today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing here. After the 5-minute candle closed, I put an order in. But look at the difference in the setup, though. Like, way different. Super huge topping tail here, which is ridiculous to get in after that. Even with this tweezer pattern, I mean, still, yeah, that's no good. That's no good. It's like you trade over HVS, which is my high volume support line I like to draw right there. And man, that really was a good setup right there. Anyway, yeah, this is just not the ideal setup. Yeah, I mean, I like this tweezer pattern sometimes, but it's really a wide range pattern. I need to like disqualify that. No more tweezers. Because it's too hard to. It's like if it throws a tweezer, you still gotta wait for you still gotta wait for it to trade up and then give you a narrow range candle to enter on. Because entering on that, your stop loss is super wide. It's just not a good opportunity. No more tweezers. Why? We'll just make that a general note. Range is usually too wide to be profitable. Would need to wait for higher high plus higher low plus narrow range candle. Don't do it. All right. So anyway, Amazon trade entered in first 10. This rule, it's a tough one because sometimes the setups can be really nice. Sometimes the setups can be really nice, and it gives you opportunity to get in the stock before it makes its bigger move, before it really starts going. But it's only a good stock if it's trading well in the first 10. And a lot of times stocks are not trading well, or they look like they're trading well and then they'll just take a massive move against you just because, things are still settling down. So, and they were both in the first 5. What was Meta? Yeah. This was really reckless. Even if I narrow that thing out. Come on, mouse. Yeah, that's just that I can. Actually, another note. Hammer bar as an inside bar is not a setup. I get tricked out by this all the time, where it's a hammer candle, but it's inside another candle. Like, it's not actually a pullback, right? It's just like a short consolidation. It's just like this whole range is just trading within itself. It's not. It traded up right here, but then the pullback doesn't happen until here, right? So, you can look at this pullback and say, okay, there's a higher high and here's a higher low, but now we just need to wait for it to trade back above VWAP and test, right? So this wouldn't have been. It's a lower high, but it's a higher low. So I don't know if I would have taken that right there, but taking this was not the move. And it's okay to miss moves, right? It's better to have a rule that keeps you out of most of the bad moves, even if you miss a couple of the good moves, right? So we're gonna stick with the 10 minutes. Let's stick with the stay out of the first 10-minute rule. So we'll call that a violation on Amazon, entered in the first 10 minutes. I want to say in my defense, but there's really no excuses at this point. But I got here late. I got here like right at 9 o'clock market time. And I don't know, I was just kind of rushing to get things settled. But I still had a timer that went off that said set your trade timer. And I just didn't do it. I think it was, and honestly, what it was from yesterday, because yesterday I got into snow early, and so that made me devalue the rule. And I was talking with Ben in the chat. What's up, Ben? He was like, okay, but if you win on a bad trade, then it just reinforces breaking the rules. Ben has been like my conscious in the trading room, man. I super appreciate you, Ben. But I took this trade right after my timer went off at 11 that says no more trades, right at the close of this candle. And I was just like, man, this is a perfect setup. So I took the entry. And I was already in the position, really. I could have just left my stop alone and I wouldn't have got stopped out, but I just didn't want to have a red day. I just really wanted to close green, and it would have just been a couple dollars red, but whatever. I definitely could have stayed in this trade and could have added right there, really. But anyway, the timer went off, and Ben had just said, hey, green day review. And then he saw me enter. He's like, oh no. And it was just like, okay, this is a great setup though. And it was. My target was just underneath 180. So this would have been another $50 on the day. And it would have been very nice. But I just realized that to keep reinforcing bad behavior, breaking rules, is a loss. Even if I would have won, this is still a trade because I don't trade. I'm not supposed to trade after 11. So I got out. I just got right back out of the trade. And yeah, it went 2R. It went 2R, but hopefully this was a step forward to not breaking the rules. Enforcing the rules. Because the rules would have kept me out of this. This was I was looking at the 5 trying to squeeze back. I wanted this trade. I wanted this back. Like once I lose on a trade, it's like I have like a vendetta against the ticker and I want to get it back. And so I'll bend rules in order to find an entry to get back into the trade. And this went into the money, but because of the way I entered, with my stop to be down here, it didn't go 2R. So it wasn't a good trade. It was a bad trade. I stopped out like $15 in the money. So I didn't lose on it, but yeah. But here, man, and it's still going too. We'll see. But anyway, yeah. So here's my problem here. Just entered in the first 10 minutes on the first entry. Second entry, 5 minutes setup. I think if I'm going to enter on the 5, I still need to, if I see a 5-minute trigger, I still need to find a lower time frame entry because, well, I guess not necessarily. I would have just been in the trade a lot longer trying to wait for that target. But Amazon doesn't really move that much to expect a 2R off of a 5-minute candle. That's kind of a lot with the way it was set up anyway. Yeah, so this was a weak setup. Not ideal, but I got like 0.5R on it. So it wasn't the worst scenario. And guess I won't really count that last trade since I just got right out. All right, Meta. So Meta, same deal. Entered in first 10. Rule break. And yeah, I don't like to trade that close to the yesterday's close. And it broke through there, which was cool, right? It's like, okay, there's not that much resistance there. And it broke through here again, but not as far, right? Like it just barely tested this area and traded back down, which shows more resistance, right? So, and it's a lower high. So really not a good setup at all. Like you got to wait for a higher high, higher low to get back in there. Like if I saw this and then it came back down and then made a higher high, then maybe, but nah, this is not a good setup at all. Yeah, so this was revenge trading. Second, third entry, no setup, revenge trading. So I lost 3R on this altogether. Well, I guess first one was minus 1R, and then two more bad trades, minus 2R. This one was plus 5R, and this was minus 1R. So yeah, like as usual, all my losses are rule breaks. And had a guy, the one, comment, telling me to stay off of the lower time frames, and that is gambling. But I just have a hard time agreeing with that. I mean, I know it's harder to trade on the lower time frames, but I've sat and traded and watched people day after day trade on the 1 minute and the 5 minute and make money consistently. It's just because they have a system and they follow it very well and they're very good at it, and these particular guys got 20 years in the game, so they just know how to trade it. It's just price action. The same stuff that you trade on the higher time frames, you can trade on the lower. But I don't know. It's hard to argue because I don't have that much experience, but I feel like I've been trading long enough to at least see the possibilities of success. And whenever there's a day where there's lots of setups, I take them and I'm very successful. But when there's a days like today where there's very few setups, it's hard for me to sit on my hands and I start, trying to find things to trade. And that's where I fall. It's not the time frame, it's me. And that's the whole premise of this channel, and the whole premise of a struggling day trader, in my opinion. I mean, unless you're just like really like you don't have a strategy, you don't know how to manage risk, things like that. But once you learn those things, the last level, the hardest part, is just being disciplined and sticking to your rules. Like, that's the problem. That's the issue. I keep breaking my rules. I got a Discord when we talk, it's the same thing. It's hard to not break your rules. And so part of the premise of this channel is that, okay, I'm sharing my struggle, but this channel makes it because I've committed to doing a review video every day. So that makes me go over my trades. Not like, oh, okay, I'll go over them later. No, I got to do my review video. So I do a review video. I take notes on my trades. I'm seeing every day my rule breaks and the results of them. Like, even like I'll be trading and I'll see something that I feel like is an opportunity, but it breaks my rules, and I'll try to justify it, and then it stops out. So it builds more confidence. It's still taking a long time, but I believe in my rules more and more every day because I see what happens when I break them. But I don't know, it's just something about being in the moment, and I don't know, it's I like trading. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm working to get to the point where I'm not breaking any of my rules. I was breaking VWAP every day. I was buying trades below VWAP, trying to go long, right? And that wasn't working out well, and I haven't been doing that. I haven't been doing that for like 2 or 3 weeks now, and that's good. Now I just need to add not trading in the first 10 minutes, right? And not buying lower high, lower low setups, so it's a process. But anyway, I did actually have a good trade today. Been harping on these bad trades, but let's check out gold. GLD. Man, it's so nice when a real clean setup comes along and it's just like, ooh, there it is, right? And here it is. So on 1 minute, I draw this first high volume candle that comes in. I like to draw a line on the top, and that is the trading range that I want to take. I want to be above when I'm taking entries, right? I don't want to take entries below that opening range. So, and then let's go back to the 2. So it kind of butts its head on that range, trades below, makes a lower low, and then comes way up here, makes a high, and then makes a lower high right here above VWAP, above the support line, and a nice hammer candle. That's like my textbook setup right there. Textbook setup. So yeah, I put an order in. The next candle to break high over this, to make a trade over this candle, and it was a great entry. Went right into the money, almost to my target, and then it started pulling back a little bit, a little low volume pullback. Not to worry too much, but after this, I thought it was getting ready to pop off, and so I wanted to add, and I should have. You gotta wait for the actual pullback. Right, like these, even though they're hammer candles, they're all within line with each other. They're in the same range. It's not a pullback, it's just kind of ranging. And buyers kept stepping up, which is nice, but it's not really a good ad spot. But then it pulls back. After I add, it does pull back and gets a little scary down here. But this would have been a better spot to add if I was gonna add, which would have been to break over this candle. But anyway, things worked out. Man, a lot of volume started coming in these 3 candles here. And I was like, man, this thing is going to pop. And boy, did it pop. It popped. I mean, I was so convinced that it was going to pop that I moved up my order a little higher. But I really wanted to just take it out and chase it up. But what I did was I left the 50 shares that I bought here. I just sold 150 here. So, or what was that? I guess I had 100 to begin with, and I bought 50. So I sold 100 up here, and left 50 to ride, which I sold up here. I was just moving up my stop every time it made a higher low, and yeah, it stopped me out up there. Nice 4R win on that trade. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. But like, just look at the difference in the type of setup. Right, clean trading. It looks so much cleaner than Amazon. Like choppy, really wide ranging, and same with my meta entry. Like choppy, topping tails. It's just not clean. It's just not clean. But that was pretty. That's nice. And those are the setups. The clean, pretty ones. Those are the ones that are most predictable and easy to trade. And so yeah, this is on the 2-minute time frame. Is this gambling? This don't feel like gambling to me, man. This is very predictable. Like it's very predictable. It happens all the time. Yeah, so good trade on that. First entry, perfect. The ad. Wait for pullback out of the range. And that's kind of the same thing. Hammer bars and inside bars, not a setup, right? These are virtually all inside bars to each other. Like these two are inside of that one, right? So hammer bar is not a setup. And I think I need to make like a mantra that I read through in the morning. Just kind of, I think I'm going to put this one on there for sure. Actually, both of these, right? Say that for later. Yeah, so when I took this gold trade, I was only down 1R on Amazon and 1R on Meta. So I was negative 50. And I took this trade and I was plus 50. And then I threw away 2R on Meta and got a half R back on Amazon. Ended up with $3 for the day. But after having max losses every day basically for the last 5 days, I'll take that. I'll take that for sure. Yeah, it's the rules win. The rules win, and that's what it is. You find a system. Of course, it's gonna look. You're gonna throw away your money if you don't actually trade the system, right? You can't just get into the market and just buy wherever you want to buy because it looks good, right? It's a business, and you gotta follow the rules of the business. of your business. Yeah, so I'm hoping that this was a psychological shift for me. I hope that even though I got in this trade and I knew it was a good setup, this is my setup right here, right? This nice gradual pullback to VWAP and then a hammer bar. That's my setup all day. And but I got out of it because I entered after my timer went off that said no more trades. So yeah, let's just play by the rules. Every day I have a red trade, it's always rule break, rule break, rule break, rule break, right? It's never, I don't know what happened. I did everything right, but I still failed. It's never that. It's never that. So until I get to that point, or until I just don't have any more money, I'm going to keep beating on this system and keep trying to get better at following the rules. Shout out Ben, man. I appreciate you trading with me in the chat every day, man. I appreciate your caring enough, to point out when I'm breaking my rules. But yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow. I gotta stop saying so much. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow morning around 9:20 to trade live again. Peace.